Welcome to Locals Only Cantina.
Mixing it up with
Brandon
and Cherie. Hey guys, welcome back to Locals Only.
What's up, guys?
So we had kind of a fun, interesting experience that just happened. Our daughter just got asked to homecoming. Why are you giving me that look?
This is how we're going to start this thing?
Not the way that you think it's going to be started.
All right. Go on.
So...
Hold on. If we're going to talk about this shit, I need a drink. So, it's the cantina. Cheers. We're going to start with that. Okay, let's go.
Woo. Anyway. So it's kind of an interesting thing. We have a senior now in high school, and we have a sophomore, and we have a sixth grader. And tonight, our sophomore just got asked to homecoming at another school with this boy she's been hanging out with a little bit. Is that why you had to drink? Because you're not sure you're liking this situation or what?
Sure, it's my favorite thing to discuss. Yeah, my daughter going on dates. It's awesome.
I think it's fun. I want my kids to be able to experience everything in life, and this is one of those things of growing up.
I know,
Dad.
it's cool. No, it's cool. For real, it is cool, and I wouldn't want to like rob them of the excitement of all that stuff, because I remember being young and like having those feelings and stuff. It's fun. However, as a father, though, you still do feel the need to be scary and intimidating and all that. That's a must-do as well.
Yeah. So she got asked super cute way. He had this like Christmas lighting around a poster and said something like, "Would you brighten my night," or something to be my date at homecoming. I don't know. It was cute. He came with it all lit up and everything. It was cute.
Anyways.
But the reason why I was bringing that up is I went down to tell my daughter something, and I don't know what happened, but I was trying to explain something to her, and I did not use the right words. No, I'm not going to say it, but it kind of...
This one is a train wreck of a show right off the bat.
But it made me think about the topic that you were talking about, and the fact that words mean certain things.
Words do mean things.
And sometimes they might not always mean what you think, right?
Well, they mean what you think, but sometimes you don't
mean what you
don't
say.
Control what comes out of your mouth the way that you ought to.
I think we're just confusing everybody.
I think so.
So Brandon was talking to me about a topic that he wanted to discuss. And I just thought it played into that, because I totally went down and said something to my daughter that did not have the same meaning in what I meant it to say. And so it got a little confusing, just like what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
So,
are you guys like crystal clear as to what's going on right now?
I bet they totally get what we're saying right now. But
we can act like we did all this confusion on purpose.
Yeah, we did.
We meant to. Hashtag meant to. All right. No, so the thing that I thought we would talk about, and probably Cherie will do most of the talking on this one. I don't know. I might have some rebuttals. I might call some bullshit here and there.
Yeah. Should we get out the boxing gloves for this one?
Probably. If tonight is the night we're gonna box, tonight's the night you have the best chance. I just got back from class from the gym,
and I've been working out a little bit.
It was a rough night. It was rough. I'm exhausted. I'm not sure. So
you're saying that I can take you.
It got to the point where like we'd have our drink break, and I'd go have my bottle, and I would like have to like hold it up with both hands because I couldn't like. No joke. I was like, I can't lift my arms anymore. What was I saying? Oh, so I'm listening to this book. It's called Hard Times Create Strong Men. And there is a chapter in there where it talks about what women want. And there's a dichotomy between what women say they want and what women actually want. I'm going to ruffle some feathers here, but we're going to have this discussion, and it'll be fun. And you can leave hateful comments if you want, because I'm toxically masculine or whatever you want to do. But it's a fun discussion to have, and I think it's real. It's true. I've had friends go through divorce. I've had friends have a hard time. I've had, she says this and that, and I try to do these things, this and that. And I always say, listen, believe her actions, not her words. I think if you want to know what women want, look at the man that she cheated on you with, and that's what she wants. You're this nice guy. You give her all the things. You do blah, blah, blah. But then she cheats on you with this dude over here that's 6'4" and built like this and masculine dude, right? So what is she genuinely attracted to, right? And so he made the point in the book where if you Google, and I haven't really taken the time to do these things to research this. It's just a discussion we're going to have. But if you Google what women want, actually the very first thing that pops up, and I did do it slightly, I guess I lied to you. I did look real quick, but the first thing that pops up is that dumbass movie with Mel Gibson. Remember that one where he has this like traumatic experience?
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's kind of cute, but it's still pretty dumb. But there's like something like 1 point something billion hits, right? Versus if you even look at like just Google porn, there's like a third that many or something like that.
This is an interesting thought though, because why are there so many listings for that? Is it because people wants to tell people what women want?
No,
or do men ask this question often?
It's because there's endless friggin' blogs and magazine articles and blah, blah, blah. And most of it's like, we want these sensitive guys who are going to listen, and we want X, Y, and Z and blah, blah, blah. But actually, it's just a few things that women want. I'm convinced of it.
Yeah?
Yeah. And so let's just have this discussion. Shree's not prepared for this at all. I just came home and we just sat down, turned on the camera and the microphones, and here we go. So I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
What are the and so what women want? Not in life, not in like friggin' spiritual shit. What do women want in men, right? Like, what are the top things that you think that women want in men, or that you would want in a man?
Well, I will say I do agree with some of the things that you've already said, in the fact that I think that there's a lot of misinformation that's taught, that I may be a little bit different as a woman than most women.
No, I don't think so.
No?
I think that's a false thing too. I think some women, especially nowadays, they feel they're supposed to say certain things. They feel they're supposed to be certain things, right?
But you're asking me like,
but I'm talking about you just spit it off the top of your head. But I will say though, like, culture does play a part, and so lots of times people say what they think they're supposed to say, but there are animalistic desires. There are things that are like in our DNA or code, right? Like, where you seek after certain things because of certain things, and it's just the way we are, right? But just real quick though, before we get into all that stuff, what are some things that you look for?
Okay, are we like putting together like a dating profile for me? Because you're
deciding
single, to be be done with me, and you're
single,
like helping me prepare for that.
You're single. You're looking for a dude.
Okay, so I guess they need to know on what level I should be making that decision. But maybe
you're single. You're young. You haven't had kids yet. You need a family. You want a family, maybe.
Well,
you're just before you met me. What are you looking for?
Well, I would say first thing that would attract me to the guy would be his looks and his stature. So I'm definitely one that I do want to be attracted to my partner. So that would be like my first thing that I would say that I would look for.
Okay.
Because everybody, no matter what you want to say, we all go off of looks before anything, because you can't know somebody by the way they look without ever knowing them or talking to them. So I would say that would be the first thing that I would be looking for, right? We have these apps and stuff. We can't say that, I was drawn to this person because of their personality. No, you're swiping left or right. you can't really know their personality at that point, right?
Well, that's nowadays. We didn't have that back in the day.
No, so for me, like what I was like what drew me to you in the first place was your looks and your body and the muscles that you had. So I'm just being honest. That's really what drew me to you.
I was like this when I met her. I'm like,
actually, no. The first date that we went on, remember that ugly sweater?
I know. We already talked about this in one of these podcasts.
I know.
Everybody already knows about it.
I know, but what I'm saying is by the second date, you wore a different shirt, and I was like, I knew there was something under that sweater. Yeah. So yes, that would be my first thing.
Okay.
The second thing would probably, as a young person just going out on dates, I would have to have a good vibe with you. Like, you'd have to be fun. You'd have to be actually intriguing for me to want to be with you. And I'm more on the lines of playful fun. I'm one that I want to have fun and play. And if I'm with a guy that's super serious or super fake, then I wasn't going to be into them. So personality definitely has to do with it. Also, I love spontaneous people because I love to do random shit all the time. Yeah. And I want them to be able to be down to do that stuff with me and kind of make our life a little bit more exciting. So I'd say that would be maybe number 3.
Okay.
I have 2 more.
Well, you don't have to do 5. We're just discussing here. This isn't like a Cosmo our article here where you gotta do top 5 things. But
I think too, something that's important to me is I always wanted to feel like the girl in the relationship. I played sports. I did all the sporty tomboy type stuff growing up. And so when I went to look for a partner or whatever, or the person that I wanted to be with, I wanted to know that I could feel like the girl in the relationship, if that makes sense. Because, I've said this story before, but even on my other podcast where I remember I was going to prom and I got my nails done and I looked at my hands with my nails done and I thought, man, I look like a guy with my nails done. I look like
You look like that lesbian from that Dave Chappelle skit where he got in a fight with this chick that he thought was a dude and he's like, wait a minute, her nails are done.
Yeah, so I remember in that moment I was looking at my hands and I was at the store with my dad and I was like, man, I wish that my hands were more feminine looking. And my dad turned and said to me, he's like, oh, well, one day they'll be more feminine.
He's a man of wise words.
So I've always had that on my mind and I always thought, I want to hold a guy's hand and I want the guy's hand to be bigger than my hand. This is really literally the stuff that I used to think about because I know I'm getting off track, but it's kind of funny.
It is. It's good stuff. This is gold right here, I think.
But honestly, I really thought about these things, and I didn't want to hold a guy's hand that was softer than my hand. If the guy had a softer hand than me, then we didn't date for very long.
Those of you dudes that go to the gym, don't wear fucking gloves when you work out.
No,
lift weights with your hands. That's, calluses are cool.
Yeah, I literally loved to hold a guy's...
Those of you that don't go to the gym, start.
But no, I literally would hold guys' hands, and that was an indicator whether I wanted to go on more dates with them, is because I wanted to know that they like to do manly things, because I like to do manly things sometimes as a woman, and I want to know that my man is still more manly than me.
Yeah.
So that was that played into what I needed from a man.
Okay.
Besides, I wanted to have kids with, dark hair, dark skin, and you gave me white babies.
Our in the middle has a nice tan. She's not as pasty as...
I married this guy with olive skin and dark hair, and then he gave me white babies. What's up with that?
You shouldn't have married an olive skin guy. You should have married a black dude.
Mm-hmm. Well,
the in-between.
You might have an accident one day. It might
happen. You never know. Well, I'm already snipped, so if you pop out with one more, it ain't mine, especially if it's black. Anyways, is there more?
Yeah, I would say maybe one other thing. I grew up with my dad working on cars and working on things all the time, and he actually built an addition to our home. So I always wanted to have a man that could build stuff, like build shit and do stuff like that. I loved working with my dad when he would do those things. And I don't know, like I always saw that as something impressive, that you can take wood and build a part of your house. Back in the day, that's just what men had to do, right? But nowadays, not even all men know how to do those things. And I think that's like something that is a talent, a skill that you can learn. Anyone could really learn it. There's so many YouTube videos out there. You could learn how to do that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
But people just don't.
I used to have a car lot with a partner of mine, and we had some mechanics out in the shop, and they would come to me. And I know how to wrench on cars, but I'm not a mechanic by any means. I got a rebuilding it. We've already talked about this on the show, but I can wrench on cars. I know how they work. I can fix shit, but I'm not a certified mechanic. There's lots of stuff I need to learn still. But our mechanics would come to me sometimes and ask me shit, and I would just say this. I would say, hey, there are 2 websites that all men need to know to go to learn all the things they need to know in life. One of them is Pornhub. One of them is YouTube. Which one will fix this issue for you? And they look at me and go, YouTube? I'm like, that's right. Go out and watch YouTube.
Well, you couldn't blame the guy if he was out there watching Pornhub.
But they would never get the car fixed. My point was, dude, go to fucking YouTube and look it up. Why are you asking me? I'm your boss, but I'm not a mechanic. You're the mechanic. Go freaking learn. If you don't know, then learn. Because you can learn, right? And that's the manly thing to do. If you don't know, you just learn.
Yeah. I think that's just human nature if you have a motivated mindset.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there will be more to come as far as these questions go. But I would say, though, that like going back to what you said in the start, you are different, I think, than most girls. Not actually different than most girls. I think you're the same as most girls. But I think most women nowadays won't say those things. I think most women nowadays will say the things they feel that they're supposed to say. Like this dad bod movement. Right? What kind of bullshit is that?
Well,
for real.
This is going to be a conversation that people won't like. But
I don't care. That's the fun part about this.
So I'm very against the dad bod because...
As all women actually are. Remember what I said.
But I think it comes from a different place than what we're really like putting that toward, I guess. And
Tell
what
me
I
what
mean,
you mean.
what I mean by that.
Explain.
Trying to use my words here. Remember the conversation I used earlier, and I used the wrong words. Anyway, no, what I'm saying is there's a lot of insecurities that happen as women, and the things that play into possibly what you want out of a relationship because of the way you feel about yourself. And I'm sorry, ladies, if this is super offensive, but I think sometimes when you're not in the best shape yourself, you kind of want your partner to match that in a way so that you don't have to have that same motivation.
I've known dudes that feel the same way about their wives. Like, I mean, I've heard it. I don't know if I've known personally. I've heard these things. Maybe I don't know this. Maybe it's like rumors and not true. I'm sure it's true. I'm sure there's assholes out there like this. They feel insecure about themselves, so they want their wife to get fat so that nobody else will like them, right? Mm-hmm. That's essentially what you're saying, but reverse, right?
Yeah. But I think for men and women, it's different. It's like what you were saying for men, right? Like they want it so that nobody wants their wife.
It's like control. Like I own her. Nobody else besides me wants her, which is to me is insane.
Yeah, like
if nobody else wants her, why the fuck would I, right? I don't understand that one.
So, but I think for women, it's a very different story. It's more of
they
like
just feel more insecure about themselves, and it makes them feel safe, right?
Yeah, it makes them feel like, I don't know, like they match the person that they're with, and they don't have to try as hard themselves. And maybe it's just because you don't feel like you can better yourself, and so that helps you feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's bullshit. Are any of these chicks genuinely like attracted to that though? Because that's not like, oh well, I want that because it makes me feel safe. That's not like, oh, I think that's fucking hot. Every dude out there wants his wife to be like, damn, I think he's hot, right?
Girls,
it would break my heart if she was like, oh, I love that he's fat because it makes me feel safe, right? Like that would be the worst.
Well, it goes to this. And let's just like take it to this level. Is a lot of these same women who are like, oh, I love the dad bod and everything like that. These are probably the same girls that are going out to the Magic Mike movie.
Right.
And they're going out to mail reviews and things like that, right? Because really, girls, come on, let's be honest. Like
the dad bods.
Like, we don't really want the dad bods. We want the nice, chiseled body.
And the ones that are with the dad bods, too, they're not the ones, like, slaying ass night after night either, right? They're with the guy that's like, do you mind if we have sex? It's been, like, 3 weeks since we've had sex, right? Like, come on. Like, it's not real. You're not attracted to that. That's bullshit. Guys that buy into this shit. I've seen these guys. I saw some this weekend. We went to this amusement park here in Utah. And this dude had on the like world's best dad bod shirt or something like that. Come on. Seriously. That's sad. Pathetic. It makes me want to like cry for you for real. Because if you really believe that about yourself, your wife does too. And she was like, oh, that sure is funny. But I guarantee you he's not getting sex on the regular.
Usually those types of guys get those shirts from their wives, and how sad is that? How would you feel if your wife?
Our son had one that he wore to school for his first day of school freshman year.
Picture day.
But it was awesome though because it was Homer Simpson and it said like
in his underwear.
Yeah, it was actually a funny shirt. But I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about actual dads that have actual dad bods, right? It's sad. It's pathetic. It's
unless that is your thing, and there are couples who are out there who that's their thing.
Hey,
or maybe,
sure, there are extremes. There's people that love it. There's chubby chasers, but in general, that's not the thing.
No, I think that like it's getting back to what you're saying and what we really, really want and what we're saying, right?
Yeah. If you're the dude out there that's like, oh, my dad bod this and that, but then you're also like, man, I haven't had sex in like 3 months. There's a reason for it, right?
And if your wife goes to like a male review and the guy wants to take her home at the end of the night and he's a chiseled body, like, I mean, what is more exciting, to go home and have sex after 3 months of not having sex with a guy that doesn't want to take care of himself and is not motivated to up his level, or to be with the guy that's like your dream guy because like really, like, she's probably not going to go home with one of those guys, right? But let's think about...
Actually, most of those dudes are gay, right? Straight guys don't dance like that. But for real, like, I mean, still...
But yeah, so, I mean, really, like, women are just as turned on by men.
I do have one straight friend that can dance like that.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm talking.
Yeah, anytime we have a chance, I turn on a song for him to
dance.
Jesus. You just wish you could dance like him.
I do wish I could.
But anyways, moving to the next topic. What was the next thing?
Well, I was just calling bullshit on the dad because you said the very first thing you said was you want to be attracted, right? So I like to dispel all the stupid myths we have nowadays, right? Because again, believe what people do, not necessarily what they say, right? So I guess what was the next thing you said?
Well, I think too, like, realizing that personality is a close second, though, because there is the stigma.
Personality has to be a thing. I mean, that's real, right?
Yeah, I mean, but this is what I mean by that, because there is this cruel way that we think as humans, right? Where women are like, well, if he's really sexy, if he has a nice body, if he's chiseled, whatever, he must be a douchebag, right? He must be this awful a-hole of a guy, right?
No, my buddy that I said can dance like Magic Mike's dope. I love that.
Yeah, no, but see, that's like the stigma that people like put on people, right? And just like men or other women put on other women, and they say, you know, that girl, because she is pretty or she has a nice body, she must be a brat, or she must not be smart.
Right. Actually, that's a difference between women and men, though. Yeah. Because speaking of Magic Mike specifically, I watch Channing Tatum movies. I've seen Magic Mike movies. I think they're awesome. The dude looks like he would be a blast to hang with. I don't look at that and be like, fuck that guy, right? No, like he looks like he'd be like so much fun. He seems super cool.
Yeah, is he on your list?
No, he's not on my list. I didn't say I want to bone the dude. I just said I think he'd be fun to hang with.
I would be cool to hang with him too. I'm just saying I would allow you to hang out with him, you know, but he might be on my list. So.
I'm just saying that there's a difference between girls see things like that, girls, and they're like, oh, I bet she's a brat, I bet she's a bitch, and dudes are like...
No, but this is a real thing, and this is actually one of the things that I hate, I'm sorry, women, I hate about certain women, is I have been told so many times, there were 3 times by women and 2 times by... Actually, 1 time by a man. But 3 times by women and 1 time by a man. I had people who didn't know me who came up and started having a conversation with me. And about 10 or 15 minutes through our conversation of just meeting this person, they look at me and they say, wow, you're really smart for being a pretty blonde girl. And I'm like, really? Like, did that just come out of your mouth? It's one of my
people say shit that they don't understand.
Pet peeves of this lifetime. Like, I hate that people say that.
I was at kickboxing a couple of weeks ago. We were sparring, and there's this younger guy that's pretty big, and I don't mean big and strong. I mean big, and good for him. He's working his ass off, right? And but he's a significantly overweight dude. And by the end of the class, I think he was the last one I sparred with. We sparred for an hour straight, 3-minute rounds, back to back to back to back. And by the end, like, he really couldn't even like lift his hands up. He was so exhausted, but he was sticking in there, right? But he was like probably early 20s. I bet the dude was like half my age. And we get done, and he couldn't hold his hands up, and he would like throw jabs from down by his waist, and I'd parry it and pop him in the chin nice and soft, right? We're just practicing. But he looks at me and goes, man, you're in okay shape for your age. And I'm like, I don't know how to take that. Like, is that a compliment? Is it not? Did you call me old? I'm not really sure what that means.
Yeah, Brandon texted me that, and I started sending him memes of old men boxing.
No, but people say things that they don't necessarily... And you do it too. You say things that you don't think about, right? But
I do.
But there's a stereotype of the dumb blonde, and so that's why it bugs you, right?
I just have to actually bring up one story because it's fun and I like to tell stories. But should we tell the New Year's Eve story about that girl? One of the girls who said that to me.
I don't remember it, so tell me.
So
Let's hear it. Let's do it. Go for it. Send it.
This is one of my favorite stories to tell because we love meeting crazy people because, you know, when we're loco ourselves, we like to meet people who are way more loco than we are.
Okay.
But one of our friends had a New Year's party, and we usually go there every year. And for actually like the past 5 years or something like that. But they had this New Year's party, and we invited one of our friends, and he didn't have a date. So he decided to invite this girl that he'd been kind of talking to and seeing. And we were just like...
This girl?
Yeah.
Oh. Great. What was her name? Oh.
We don't say names on here.
I guess we shouldn't say it.
Anyway.
The one in the hot tub, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, gotcha.
Yeah, so we are at this New Year's party, and this girl comes in, and she's just like super wants to have all the attention on her, like the whole time.
Crazy.
You could tell, like, even for me, I was like, I'm a pretty social, outgoing person in like a party situation. But, like, she was a lot even for me to handle. But I was having a conversation with her, trying to make her feel comfortable because she was the new person at the party. And that was, like, one of the points where 15 minutes of the conversation, she's like, wow, you are actually really smart for a pretty blonde girl. And I was like, what in that? Like, I was just so angry at that point. I'm like, she already was, like, irritating me a little bit by some other things she was doing.
You should have said, you're, like, absolutely batshit fucking bonkers for a not that cute brunette.
The weird thing was that she actually had blonde hair, too. So
No, she didn't.
Did she not?
No, she had. Doesn't matter. She didn't have blonde hair, though. She was a brunette.
No, but the crazy thing was that she was, like, togging herself up the whole time, saying about how she was a paralegal and how, like, great she was or whatever. And I was just like, that's
She had her breathalyzer in her car.
Yeah. But she ended up being, like, this
And I don't mean one that she, like, kept in the glove box to be safe. I mean, like, court ordered.
Like, she had to blow into it
like
to
the car. The car wouldn't start. Yeah.
Yeah, our friends actually, like, had to asked us to make her leave because she was our friend.
It's worse than that. She didn't have a breathalyzer. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm wrong. I've lied to you. She could not drive a car. This is how our friend met her. He was driving Uber part-time, and she was not allowed to drive because she lost her license due to multiple DUIs, and that's how he met her. So,
and this is a girl telling me that she was surprised that I was so smart.
Here's a little tip for my boys out there. Don't bring that girl home with you.
Yeah, never. And he kind of knew, right? Like, he was like, well, she might be a little crazy. I'm not sure. But but Brandon and I, whenever somebody...
She wasn't really on the right point of the hot, crazy matrix, though, either, though, right? She wasn't really hot enough to deal with that.
Whenever it comes to, like, New Year's Eve, though, we're like, crazy person? Let's bring a crazy person.
New Year's Eve is always more fun with people that are a little bit insane.
Yeah, but we literally had to pull her out of our friend's house. She got in her hot tub naked. It was crazy.
Yeah, she was.
We had to, like, pull her out and make her leave.
She was batshit.
It was crazy. She kept, like, telling everybody at the party that they were hitting on her and that they were being, like... Yeah, it was crazy, but here's
Anyways,
this.
How did this come up?
No, I thought it was a funny story, and the reason why I bring it up is because this is literally the woman who said that to me.
Yeah.
This person who's like...
that's the same thing as me. This dude's like overweight and everything, and I'm sure he won't listen to this because I'd feel bad because he's a nice guy. But it's like, my thought was like, I'm in pretty good shape for my age. Like, bro, I'm in fucking good shape for your age, dude. Like... And, like, she's like, oh, you're pretty smart for a pretty blonde. And you're like, yeah, well, you're fucking stupid for anyone, right? So
no, I just thought she was crazy. Like,
insane.
But here she was judging me when she's on the crazy scale, like
the wrong end
of
the
scale.
Wrong end of
way off the scale. But, like, one of our friends actually left their phone at our friend's house because he left so fast because she was making him uncomfortable. Yeah. But here she was blaming all the guys for flirting with her, and literally guys were leaving the party because she was being aggressive, right? Yeah. But
anyways,
kind of fun times. But anyway, getting back on track.
So I'm off track. I've lost track as to where we were.
I'm sorry.
It's supposed to be what women want, and we're talking about these crazy bitches in hot tubs on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said we talked about. You said you liked a dude that was healthy and fit. We called bullshit on the dad bod, and then the personality part. Actually, I think I said that too. Personality part, and then you talked about crazy girls. What's next? What else did we say?
Well, I think
what was your next one? Oh, you talked about, like, guys that are, like, capable, right? They can fix things and shit like that.
Yeah, that was definitely something, like, having
fix things.
Soft hands.
Build things, right? Yeah.
I remember the reason why I even had this thought was because, guys in high school, they're not really out working on cars a lot, but they might be, like, in the gym, or they might be playing sports, and that's where they get more calloused hands or whatever. But there was definitely a difference between holding a guy's hand that didn't do those things compared to guys who did those things. And I remember the first time I dated this guy, he was actually working in construction, and I held his hand, and I was like, yeah, that's a man's hand.
It's a man's hand, right?
So it was kind of weird. Like when you're in high school, you can't really, they're just kids growing up, so you can't really like judge
you dated a dude that worked in construction when you were in high school?
He might have been graduated while I was in high school.
Apparently, yeah. That's okay.
He only dated me because he liked my friend and he wanted to get back with my friend, but that happens sometimes.
But you contrast that to today, right? There's not a lot of dudes out there that are still doing shit like that.
There are.
Not a lot.
I think we just have louder voices from the other side.
I don't know. Of course there are some. There's still shit being built. Right. There's still like homes being constructed and buildings, all that. But you look around though, and actually this book that I read, he addressed this as well, about gamers and stuff like that. And believe it or not, the average age of the gamers, guys that play games all the time, is like 30-something years old. It's not the kids in high school. They start in high school, but the average age of guys that play games is like clear into their 30s.
The kids in high school, they have parents that are telling them to get off games.
Right. And it's just because their parents want to like steal the consoles, right? And he even made the point that like he was a gamer too, right? The guy that wrote this book, he's like, but I finally realized that what the games do is it's a replacement. And people that watch football, people that watch baseball, people that are in hockey, sports and stuff like that, they want to sit on the couch and watch these things too. It's a replacement for the guys need to compete, right? Guys need to compete. Like guys go to fucking war, guys battle, guys fight, this and that. And it's basically, it's a masturbatory process of that, right? Where you can watch somebody else do the thing.
A master what?
Masturbatory. That's a word. It's like masturbation is fake sex, right? Man. It's like fake.
Sorry that you're going,
it's fake war. It's fake competition, right? You sit there on the couch and you watch somebody and you get like those same dopamine hits. It makes you feel the same way, right? And that's why these guys love these games.
I can see that.
That's why they love football. Look at all these guys sitting on their couch with their bellies out to here with their big mugs of beer while watching football. I'm like, oh yeah, go! Oh, what a punk! What a slow. I love when I hear all these guys say, that guy's so slow. I'm like, dude, that guy can run circles around you, right? Like, that guy's actually a pro, right?
But not all guys who watch football and drink beer and watch the game are having big bellies.
No. But a lot do, though.
Yeah. He's stereotyping a lot of
it. A lot do.
I see what you're saying.
Look at the Super Bowl. Most of the time when you see the guys with their shirts off and the shit painted on them and it says like the team name, most of the time do they have nice bodies, or most of the time do they have big old beer guts on them? And it's like funny, haha.
I don't know. I need to watch a game just to see.
I'll tell you, most of the time they're big beer belly having dudes, right? But the football games, the gaming, playing games, World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, all that stuff. It is a replacement for the dudes. It's the same dopamine hits that.
I can see that.
That guys get from actual competition, right?
Well, it's like, think about the games that we used to play and how really competitive those were, right? Like back when we were younger. Now, like, it's actually more of a lifelike situation. Like our kid plays video games and he put this game on that I walked in from, I think it was at the gym or something. I came home and I walked in and he's playing this game and I thought he was watching a movie because it looked so lifelike. Yeah. It was so incredible.
The weird,
graphics are so crazy.
Some of the games aren't even like games anymore. It's like you're the actor in the movie.
Yeah, so he was playing this game that was more like a choose your adventure type book. Uh-huh. But it was a movie, but he would play different parts of it, and it was actually really cool. But I get like that feeling, like it's so real compared to like the gaming that we did when we were young.
He said in the book that the the average time a gamer spends playing games is like something like 18 hours per week or something like that.
Per week?
Like a lot, right?
Yeah.
And you think about all the time you spend asleep versus awake, and then your job or your school. 18 hours is like most of your time, right? So as cool as they might be, and they are cool, like the graphics are cool, and like I think I know what game you're talking about. It is cool.
Yeah. But
man, that's like, there's so many other things you could do with your life. And so the guy that wrote this book is saying, like, I used to be this guy, but then I figured out that this was just a replacement for the things I could be doing outside my life, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's like when I sit there sometimes, and I love cars, right? And so sometimes I'll watch these car shows where they restore cars, and I'm like sitting there on the couch and I'm watching them. Then I'll sit there and think. He's
sitting there with his beer.
I'm that guy, right? But I actually like consciously think at some point in time, I think, that's really cool. I wish I could do that. Wait, what? Oh, fuck, I've got a car in the garage I need to build.
Yeah, you have a Jeep that you need to get running before we move to our house.
Oh, wait, it's not going to run before it moves to the house. But I got the engine in it so I can tow it over there. The engine's no longer on the stand. Do you know how to build an engine?
No, but instead of watching the shows, you could build the engine.
I did build the engine, and it's in it. And I'm going to tow the Jeep to the house. It's in it. No, but I actually have that thought where I'm like, oh, I have this thing out there. I could, instead of watching somebody do it, I could go do the thing, right?
No, that's like a huge thing actually these days. And that's like one of the things that I've always wanted to change, because our kids are experiencing the world through gaming instead of actually going out and experiencing.
But that's the games. But that's the same thing that people that watch football and stuff like that do too. They don't. Most of the guys that watch football don't go out and like play football, right? We just think it's weird because it's games.
Because they're still like kids.
But we have all these adult friends that do the same thing that our kids do. Like, I thought it was so crazy when my kids got into this thing where they would watch people on YouTube play games. I'm like...
Yeah, when it first started, when it was first a thing.
Why are you watching somebody else? Why wouldn't you just play the game? I don't understand, right? But then I thought, wait a minute, that's what my friends do when they watch football. They watch football instead of go play football.
Well, the funny thing was, because like we grew up in like late 80s, early 90s as our like childhood,
I think we're
right?
way off topic.
Yeah, but let me tell my story. Don't stop me before. Right.
Okay.
Rude.
Yeah.
Anyway, but like back in the day when we were kids, we had to start and finish a game in one sitting. Like, we couldn't save it and come back to it another time. So we didn't watch each other play games very often, because it was usually like a match, like a fight game, like Street Fighter or something, right? Like, that's what you'd play if your friends came over. But you wouldn't just sit and watch your friend play a game all day. But it's such a different
Remember
world.
when COVID was bad and we would go out to eat, and there were no sports going on because all the arenas and stadiums all closed down? Me and Sheree were sitting in Buffalo Wild Wings one night, and we looked up, and on all the TVs were people playing games. And I'm like, what in the actual fuck is going on with the world right now? This is so stupid. I don't think
it stopped. They still do it.
No, not like before. Like then, because there were no sports, that's all it was up there.
But they didn't stop doing it. They just do it.
No, they still do it, but it's not. Buffalo Wild Wings doesn't display them all like they used to, right?
They actually have
like
there's
actual
games going
There's actual like MMA and football and car racing and stuff like that on now again. But no, people still do stuff like that for real. But that was the first time that it hit me. And I'm like, holy cow, I'm sitting in this restaurant, and every TV that I see is these little freaking dorks in their mom's basement.
Hey, they're not dorks.
Some of them are.
Guess what? They're making like millions of dollars playing video games. What are you doing, huh?
I'm making this podcast.
I'm like, dude, if you can make that much money being able to play a game that you love playing.
What makes you assume they're making millions?
Maybe not millions, but they're making a living off of doing it.
What makes you assume that?
Because there
might be some
on ESPN. They're paying.
No, there was COVID. There was nothing. So they like went to the bottom of the barrel, and they're like,
that was ESPN.
We need to have something up there.
Yeah, that was ESPN.
I know, but they're like, we need to have something to show, and so they showed.
You don't think they were paying them?
The second that they got the chance to not have to show that shit anymore, they stopped.
You want to fight me?
I will fight you.
You didn't get the boxing gloves up.
Yeah, well,
so
we don't need gloves.
I could use my nails. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, we are so far off topic, it's disgusting. This was supposed to be about what women want. Do women want a guy that's going to sit around and play games for 18 hours a week on his...
No, I will say I have a friend whose husband at nighttime, they go their separate ways, and he goes to play video games, she goes to read a book, and then they go to bed at different times. So...
Is that what you want?
No, that's what I'm saying is like, it's actually something that... I don't think it's bad to play video games. Like, if you want to play a video game...
I like to play them with my son, with our son.
Let's be real. We're getting into a world where that's changing, right? So there are going to be more men out there who want to be playing video games, right? And I don't think, if that's how you want to spend the you time, I don't think it's a bad thing to do. As long as at the end of the day, you guys are like, this is our time, and we go to bed together, and we make that.
But there's only so many hours in the day, though. Yeah, and that guy has to do certain things.
But
to really attract the woman that he wants to attract.
Yeah, but you're not 100% always on your game. Like you...
Whatever. I am always on my game.
Sometimes you watch shows that I don't want to watch, and I give you your time, right?
Oh, my shows are awesome.
So the guys' programs that they do are not awesome to them? I'm pretty sure they are.
Oh, have you ever seen Black Sails before? That's a dope show.
No, I'm just saying, like, we
just
all
because
have...
Shree doesn't appreciate pirates and murder.
No, I don't.
But actually, the truth is, though, I only watch those when I know that you're busy anyways.
No, but I think that you can have hobbies or things that you want to do outside of each other, but
for sure,
as long as you like are keeping your game
for sure.
up and
I guess
coming together.
This is my point, though. Okay, so let's relate this to something that I actually do on my own time. Okay, we could do cars or we could do motorcycles.
Okay? You spend a lot of time doing motorcycles. So
what would your respect level be versus these two things? One, I spend 3 hours playing a motorcycle game on PlayStation, or I go out and ride for 3 hours on an actual motorcycle and go do actual things with actual people, with actual friends, and we build an actual club and we like do actual things and we do charity runs and we make money for actual causes. Which one's more respectable?
Yeah, I see your point.
That's the thing, right? Do the actual thing versus doing the masturbatory thing, right?
No, I totally understand that, because like if you were to actually put it in the place of like football, right? Like it would be way more sexy, way more hot to see a guy go on Saturday morning and play football with his friend
versus like
and
sitting
then
there doing this
playing
stuff,
video
right?
games. So I get that.
The last ride I did a ride last weekend. It was an American Heroes ride, and it was a 9/11 monument that moves around the country. And it was like a 400-mile ride that day, and it raised money for a good cause, right? It was a thing I'm interested in. It's my hobby. It's fun. I hung out with my friends, but it was a good cause. That's 1,000% different than sitting my ass on a couch all day Saturday playing a game where I move this little dude around this screen, right? Like,
you're 100% right. If you spent 10 hours of your day playing video games,
right,
in the blaze of you going for a ride, that's a completely different thing.
Different, yeah. Or even if it's
I'll agree with that.
Like the things I'm interested. I don't really care about football, but I'm interested in like motorcycles. I'm interested in cars, right? If I go out and work on a car in the garage for 10 hours. Is more respectable than if I sit on the couch and watch car restoration shows, right?
Yeah, and I think though that all has to do with having a partnership where you both have growth mindsets, right? Because I want to level up myself. You want to level up yourself. And I want to see that within you, right? And I think that there are people who are unbalanced in their relationship where some people have the growth mindset.
Now we're back to what women want. All right. This is where we need to be, right?
No, but I think men and women. I know that you and I
are much less particular about this.
Yeah. We've had this conversation before, and men are a lot less, like, they need that a lot less than women.
Yeah.
But
women want their men to have a growth mindset. Women want their men to be progressing, be doing the things, be building the shit, you know.
Yeah, we've also had this conversation, though, because I brought up a point to you about how men are kind of the same way, too, though. Because...
I'm not saying we're not, but I don't think it's the same. But
I don't think it's on the same level, but you definitely want somebody who wants to better their lives and live their lives to the fullest, right? Because you don't want to be married to a chick who doesn't have any motivation to go to the gym, doesn't have any motivation to, like, that's all growth mindset.
No. Well, yeah, but men have, like, have fewer things, right? I want her to be cute. I want her to be, like, friendly. I want her to be sweet. I want her to like me, right? But you don't need to make a certain amount of money. Like, that's not a thing for guys for the most part. You know, like, it's the expectations are dramatically different.
They're different, and for me it's different too, because I don't know, like, you always do this while we do this show. You need like 2 drinks while I have one. You're too
slow. The show's about done, and you still have drinks.
Well, rude. Stop stealing my drinks. You didn't eat, girl. No, I see what you're saying, but I think that men still want that growth mindset. They still do. Maybe not on the same level, because women need and want different things. And that's just the makeup of who we are.
Guys don't really care about a growth mindset.
So you want a girl who never puts makeup on, never gets ready for the day. That's a growth mindset.
Yeah, but that's not what I mean.
You don't understand on this level what the growth mindset
is.
Guys
want her to be sweet. They want her to be cute. They want her to be loving. But you don't have to make 6 figures a year. You don't have to, like, be out hustling all the time. Like, it's a dramatically different thing.
We live in a very different world now where women actually supplement income. So there are lots of relationships where and this is part of this conversation, right?
But it's not dependent on how the guy necessarily feels about you. I mean, if you're an absolute lazy ass and you just refuse to do a goddamn thing, sure, that will make the guy start to, like, resent you to some degree, right? But
what if
a girl will post on her Tinder profile, he has to make $150,000 a year. A guy's like, if she's hot and she does hair and makes like $25,000 a year, I don't care, right? Like, I mean, come on. I mean,
you're talking
want, like,
about
sexual access. We want you to be cute. We want you to be friendly and pleasant.
Sexual access?
Fuck yeah.
What is that all about?
That means I want sex.
You basically want a girl that you know sex with.
You want a girl that's going to be pleasant, loving, and...
And why are you on Tinder looking at women who want 6 figures?
I'm just saying.
You're bringing up stuff that you've read about. But,
I've listened to podcasts. I've read things. But I'm not on Tinder. No.
Here's the thing. Like, we can't say that everybody's like that, because you know that I'm not like that.
No, you're not. You're different. And by your responses, you're actually different than most women, I think, that we could talk to that would... I think you're not different, but they wouldn't say those things because they're not supposed to say those things. And what I appreciate about you is that you will just say the things, right?
Aww.
That's why
he appreciates me.
Different. Most girls you have to play the games with, right? Sheree, I don't necessarily feel like I have to, right? But when a girl's like, oh, I just want a guy that's sensitive and I can talk to and this and that, and I don't really care what he looks like, or I just want to be...
That's bullshit.
Absolutely bull fucking shit, right?
Yeah.
I've had lots of friends who have been cheated on, and it's like, listen, don't believe what she says. Look at the dudes that she had affairs with. That's what she wants, right? And so my point is, let's just be real. Let's forget all the, like, the fluffy, like, PC, like, we'll say what we think we're supposed to say. Let's forget all that shit and just go back to the way that we actually are. It may not be nice sometimes. It may not be even right sometimes. But it just is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. That really got quiet real quick there.
Well, no, I think that part of the thing really is you need to, I think you just need to have the understanding that, or want to have the desire to have a partner who has a growth mindset, who wants to better themselves, because there's nothing more attractive than somebody who wants to better themselves and wants to help better you and lift you up to your highest level.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that people are missing out when they say, oh, I want the sensitive guy, I want this, I want that. Just because a man is a masculine guy doesn't mean he doesn't have those sensitive sides, right? I always tell people that the thing about Brandon that they don't always see, because he's like this like tiger and he's like grrr, right? Sometimes he is resting bitch face and people are like intimidated by that. And when he gets very passionate about something, watch out, because he's gonna be very passionate and he'll let you know how passionate he is, right? But here's the thing that people don't realize about Brandon is that he's actually, don't tell him, that he's a little bit of a teddy bear.
Liar. Give me that shit.
When it comes to our relationship and the way that he is. And I think there's all these different stereotypes out there, right? And we're, as human beings, we're like, oh, we have these people that fit in this category or that category or this category. What if you just knew what you wanted and you went out there to get it and you looked for that in that partner, and you don't take away from who they are because of something you heard on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, and you don't think, oh, well, he should be more sensitive because of this or that. Well, guess what? Like, appreciate the sensitivity that your partner has. Appreciate the masculinity that your partner has, because when he shows up in his masculine way, we show up in our feminine way and we complement each other.
Yeah.
The hardest part in a relationship, and what I've seen, is when women take on that masculine part. And I will say more times than not in a relationship where I've seen people, our friends, get divorced or separate, has been the woman taking on those masculine identities, those masculine personality traits, right? They have to feel like they've got to take control. They've got to be the one to do the things, right? And there's something beautiful about masculinity and femininity and the way that it matches each other. And that's the way that it's been from the beginning of time. But
we live in this weird world right now where everybody's supposed to be the same. And that's fucked up and that's wrong.
No, there's just this beautiful combination, this beautiful relationship that happens when we all play our own parts.
When a man falls in love with a woman, she becomes a weakness. When a woman falls in love with a man, he becomes her strength. Right? Like they're complementary.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's good. That's the way it's supposed to be. We live in this weird world where people think that that everybody's supposed to be equal, this and that. But Jack Donovan says in The Way of Man that which is masculine is least feminine. That which is feminine is the least masculine, right? And opposites attract. We all know that. That's the thing, right? Masculine men are usually attracted to very feminine women. Feminine men usually end up with very masculine men. Feminine men. I get that might be a thing too, right?
Probably.
Feminine men usually, if they decide to marry a woman, usually end up with masculine ones, right? But those masculine women usually end up resenting them for having to be masculine.
Which is kind of funny that we say that, because like my brother being gay, they actually do play both those parts.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what is so important about those relationships. And even though we're talking about a heterosexual relationship, this actually plays into
even
gay and lesbian relationships.
I don't know if I've ever met two dudes that are gay and they're both like fucking like masculine dudes and they're like, oh, I fucking love you. No, I love you more, right? No, that's just not the way it goes. There's still the feminine and the masculine, right?
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing.
I don't know that applies to lesbians though. I oftentimes see like two bull dykes walking down the road and
that's not nice.
They both look like dudes. We're not trying to be nice on this show. This is just what's real.
No, but I probably know more lesbian relationships than you are, and I see that.
It might be a thing. Sure, okay.
But here's the thing: is there's got to be one person that plays the masculine part and one person that plays the feminine part, and
usually that's the way that goes.
And when we decide that those roles, especially in heterosexual relationships, change, that's kind of a relationship that is hard to last. From what I've seen, if you're expecting your man to be more feminine and you're constantly like harping on him about being more feminine or feministic or whatever, right? Then he's really missing out on what he's meant to be and what he can level up to be for you, actually.
And feminine doesn't necessarily mean like he's like feminine, like speaks with a lisp and stuff. Like I'm just saying like guy, like not the stereotypical stuff, but like in my own life, my dad struggled financially. Your drink just somehow disappeared. My dad struggled financially for a long time, and my mom had to step up and she had to like support us. And guess what? She had to become like the masculine, and it pissed her the fuck off. Yeah. And it probably ruined their relationship. Yeah. She didn't want to have to support the family. She didn't want to have to do all that work. She didn't want to have to do all those things.
But she stepped up because she had to.
Right. But on one hand, though, and she did, and I can appreciate that, right? But on one hand, she loves that she's like the one who, I can do hard things, right? On the other hand, it made her despise him and hate him and resent him, and it ruined their relationship. So again, believe what they do, not what they say, right? She says till this day, he's long passed away, she says, I'll never find another guy like him, right? At the same time, she really resents a lot of all that stuff too, right?
Well, I think this just goes to the point of really appreciating the masculine part in your relationship, really appreciating the feminine part in your relationship, and how they complement each other, and how you can actually build the other person up to be the level of masculinity or femininity that we need to be in our relationship, and love and support that, and not feel like you guys are going to be equal, because guess what? We're not going to be equal. Brandon has his own business. I have my business or my job that I do, my career that I do, and both of them are very important parts that we play. And here's the thing is I can support and love him for his masculinity in the place that he is in our relationship, because guess what, when I don't want to deal with some of those hard things, I'm like, does this phone call to this person need to have you call them or me call them? I'm like, do they need good cop or bad cop, right? And we play our parts, and it's complementary to each other. Yeah. And I know, like, we know how to be there for each other. Sometimes Ryan will be like, it's probably best if you call this person, right?
We had a landlord one time that loved Sheree, and I'm like, we have a sticky situation. You get to make the call because he likes you, because you're cute.
Yeah, so we all play our parts, right? And but here's the thing is when you realize as a couple that those parts play and complement each other, and you're actually going to level up as a couple when you want to fight for that power that doesn't even really exist. You're just fighting to be the top
It doesn't
dog.
need to be a competition at all, because they're complementary, not contradictory, right? Yeah. So,
But anyway, I guess that's kind of our message.
Is that it?
Tonight.
Oh yeah. So what? Well, we'll summarize it then. So what women want is what?
I think just really...
I can't say it because I'm a dude and they won't believe me.
I think just really be true to who you are. You know, like, let's be honest. Like, we all, both sides are attracted to something that's visually pleasing, right? There we go. We each play our part and just love and respect that part and build each other up for the parts that we play in our relationship. And what we really want as women is, you know, maybe this is changes from what I said earlier, but stability, trust, love, loyalty, you know, attractiveness, you know, being able to see each other grow to their best potential and be there for the other person to help them reach their best potential. And I think that's the most beautiful thing. Like, I think you get to a different level of needs and wants from a relationship when you realize what the other person wants for you as well. And I think that that's like an epiphany that I have, like, being with you for this long, is just that I love, more than anything, seeing him support me, and I want to support him in everything he does. And when that's your biggest goal, the biggest thing that you want out of life is to make the other person live a better life and level up and have that growth, then it's kind of a beautiful thing that a lot of people don't have in their relationships. So.
Alrighty then.
I don't know if that made any sense.
It did make sense. It was good. It was good.
But anyway, thanks you guys. Thanks for tuning in. And
peace out.
You guys, subscribe, have some
fun. Smash
listen.
That like button.
I don't know, join a group.
That's what all the cool YouTubers say. They say smash that like button.
Oh, I'm not cool like that. Smash it.
Smash it.
I don't know what that means.
No, well, it helps the algorithms and like, subscribe, all those things. Leave reviews, comments. It helps, I guess. I don't know. I don't really know enough about all this stuff to even know. We're still...
We'll get back to you on that.
Trying to learn about all this stuff. But for real, subscribe, like it, all that stuff, and we'll see you next week.
Peace out.
Bye.
See ya.